Good day everyone, especially to our co-instructor, Ms. Pamela Soriaco. In this video presentation we're going to present the 6 personalities granted executive clemency. We also describe the information, including the crime committed, the judgment of the case, their sentence, and the reason why they are qualified. By the way, executive clemency refers to reprieve, absolute pardon, conditional pardon, with or without parole conditions, and commutation of sentence. It is issued by the President. Now, the resolution number OT-0802-2023, issued by the Board of Pardons and Parole, states that the person deprived of liberty who are 70 years old and above strictly have served at least 10 years of their prison term, and even if considered high risk, like those convicted of heinous crimes, are now qualified for executive clemency, the Department of Justice said. Now, one of the personalities home granted by executive clemency we have is Gerardo Valencia de la Peña, 84 years old, born on April 23, 1939. De la Peña, a farmer from Benzon's Camarines Norte, is the oldest of 824 political prisoners in the country. The Regional Trial Court of Daet Camarines Norte convicted De la Peña in February 2014 of murder for the fatal shooting of his nephew Melchor on April 21, 2001. De la Peña was only arrested in March 2013 but was convicted less than a year later. He is serving a sentence of reclusion perpetua or 20 to 40 years in prison. In the case of De la Peña was not entitled for release, but now because of this new resolution that instead of 15 years, it's only 10 years. De la Peña, who had served 11 years, will now be entitled to be recommended for release under this new resolution. So that is all about for PDL Gerardo Valencia de la Peña. Now my brothers are going to present the rest of the personalities.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Dexter D. Mariano. And other personalities was given by the executive clemency is Hubito C. Plameras Jr. 1934 or July 31, 2018 was a Filipino politician. Plameras was first elected governor of Antique in 1984 and stepped down in 1998 to contest a seat on the House of Representatives. He served in the 20th Congress as a member of the Laban ng Makabayang Masang Pilipino representing the Legislative District of Antique. In 1997, Plameras as Antique governor had acquired 5.6 million worth of school supplies on behalf of the Department of Education, Culture and Sports for use in the province of Antique. CKL Enterprises was permitted to fulfill the order without binding. Additionally, payment was exchanged prior to the complete delivery of the items, many of which were defective. The Sandiganbayan ruled on December 2, 2008 that Plameras was to serve a sentence between 6 years and 1 month or 10 years imprisonment. The final decision was upheld on March 11, 2014. However, Plameras suffered a stroke and paralysis and was subsequently placed under house arrest in April 2 to 3 in 2016. Plameras sought a presidential pardon from Benigno Aquino III, which was not granted. Aquino's successor, Rodrigo Duterte, approved the request in December, given that Plameras repaid the Antique provincial government 2.6 million. And Plameras died at the age of 83 on July 31, 2018 at the Antique Medical Center in San Jose. Another personalities whom granted by the executive clemency was Robin Padilla. President Rodrigo Duterte granted executive clemency to actor Robin Padilla, making him one step closer to traveling abroad to be with his wife and newly born baby girl. President Rodrigo Duterte said, "I just granted the pardon in favor of Robin Padilla kasi yung original pardon niya hindi sinali yung full restoration of political and civil rights. Therefore, he could not get a permit to possess a gun again," said Duterte on Tuesday night, November 15, during a dinner he hosted for some journalists. Padilla was convicted of illegal possession of firearms in 1994. In 1998, then President Phil Ramos granted him pardon, but it did not restore in full his civil political rights. This was the case GR number 121917, March 12, 1997. Rubin Carino Padilla. Petitioner versus Court of Appeals and People of the Philippines. On October 26, 1992, high-powered firearms with live ammunitions were found in the possession of petitioner Rubin Padilla. Petitioner was correspondingly charged on December 3, 1992 before the Regional Trial Court of Angeles City with illegal possession of firearms and ammunitions under PD 18662. Through the following information, the lower court ordered the arrest of petitioner but granted his application for bail. During the arraignment on January 20, 1993, a plea of not guilty was entered for a petitioner after he refused. Upon advice of counsel to make any plea, petitioner waived in writing his right to be present in any and all stages of the case. After trial, Angeles City RTC Judge David Rosette rendered judgment dated April 25, 1994, convicting petitioner of the crime charged and sentenced him to an indeterminate penalty from 17 years, 4 months, and 1 day of reclusion temporal as minimum to 21 years of reclusion perpetua as maximum.
The fourth personality whom granted by Executive Clemency is former President Joseph Estrada. Joseph Estrada is a Filipino politician and actor. He served as the 13th President of the Philippines from 1998 to 2001. In 2001, he became the first chief executive in Asia to be formally impeached and resign from power. Crime committed. Estrada was convicted in September after a 60-year trial. He was found guilty of plunder for collecting millions of dollars while in office from illegal gambling and taking illegal commissions from the purchase of shares by government pension funds. He was under detention for 6.5 years. Judgment of the case and sentence. In 2007, Estrada was sentenced by a special division of Sandigan Bayan to reclusion perpetua under a charge of plunder for embezzlement $80 million from the government, but was later granted a pardon by the President and his former deputy, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Pardon granting executive clemency to Joseph Ejercito Estrada on October 25, 2007 at the Malacañang Palace, Manila. President Arroyo granted executive clemency to Estrada based on the recommendation by the Department of Justice. The action comes just day after Estrada asked Mrs. Arroyo to pardon him in what his lawyers described as the national interest. The former president had previously insisted he would reject any deal with Mrs. Arroyo. In the Philippine media have been given the pardon issue heavy coverage in recent days, with editorials warning against the dangers of a deal favoring Estrada. He was popularly among the country's poor who knew him from movie roles in which he played the hero of the underdog. He is still popular with the masses and has always denied the charges against him. The next personality that we have is Roberto Salvador. He is 78 years old, a Filipino citizen. Roberto Salvador was convicted of murder by the Regional Trial Court of Nueva Ecija and was sentenced to suffer the supreme penalty of death and served 26 years in prison since 1997. The reason why he was granted clemency through commutation of service issued by President Marcos.
Joseph Scout Pemberton. U.S. soldier Joseph Scout Pemberton convicted of killing transgender Jennifer in October 2014. In a 68-page decision, Olongapo City Regional Trial Court, Branch 74 finds Pemberton guilty beyond reasonable doubt of homicide and Laudi's death. And the court finds the crime did not have legal elements of murder, heavier crimes. Pemberton is sentenced to 6 to 12 years imprisonment. The Philippine on U.S. governance clarify provision of the BFA over where the Marines should be incarcerated. On 7 September 2020, 6 days after U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scout Pemberton filed a motion of his release under good conduct time allowance. President Duterte granted absolute pardon, extinguishing all of his criminal liabilities without condition. Correct me if I'm wrong, but ito ang tingin ko sa kaso. You have not treated Pemberton fairly, so nirelease ko. Pardon, says Duterte in that televised address. Pemberton has only served 5 years and 8 months of his prison sentence of 6 to 10 years for killing Laude in 2014. His motion for release is the first time that the GCTA is being claimed by the U.S. soldier while in solitary confinement and not serving his jail term in the new believed prison in accordance with the Visiting Force Arrangement and a mutual defense treaty between the Philippines and the U.S. For the conclusion of this video presentation, it is important to note that the granting of executive clemency is a complex and subjective process. The qualification of this role is extend beyond individual qualification and may also be influenced by political, social, and legal considerations.